Good morning, I'm UIW meteorologist Student Khalil right here with another tropical update. And you may be asking, after we already had one just yesterday, why are we seeing another one? Well, we have more things to talk about, especially with Hurricane Erin. So looking at the big picture in the Atlantic, we're watching three different areas, including Hurricane Erin. Now, the second one we're watching has a 60% chance of development over the next week, and we're going to talk more about that one later, but first, let's get to Erin. So looking at the satellite imagery, it's not looking as impressive as it did a couple days ago, especially when it was a Category 5 hurricane. However, it is still very strong winds of 125 miles an hour, but notice how the western side it's not as symmetrical as it used to be, and that's because we have some dry air starting to seep in. But otherwise, this hurricane is very large because it just recently went through an eye wall replacement cycle in which the inner eye collapses and then an outer eye forms. And as a result, it may weaken a bit overall, but those wind fields expand massively. And right now, we're seeing tropical storm force winds up to 200 miles from the center. Now, despite this storm expecting to be well away from the U.S. mainland, we're actually seeing tropical storm watches being issued for the Outer Banks of North Carolina just because of how far that wind field really stretches. Again, tropical storm force winds extend 200 miles from the center. And if you're not convinced, let me just go ahead and show you the water vapor imagery and comparing the size of the storm to other states. So if you look at the green blob to the bottom right of the screen, you can see that mass is Hurricane Erin, and compare that to, let's say, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. It's massive. You can combine all those three states, and this hurricane is still just about as large, if not larger. So again, even if we don't see a direct landfall, which we won't, there are still going to be some of those minor impacts to the shore. For example, rip currents and gusty winds, and definitely some rough surf out there. So do be careful if you're going to go to the beach and listen to those lifeguards. Now, this is that second system that we're talking about with a 6% chance of development. You see it's still unorganized, but it's expected to make a similar path to Erin, however, a bit further to the south. So we may see more impact to land than we have with Hurricane Erin. So we're going to continue to watch this system. And then we have this system off the coast of Africa with a 10% chance of development because it is going to be running into some unfavorable conditions later on this week. So we're not really worried about this one at the moment. Now we're going to continue to give you updates on the tropics here at UIW Weather. So as always, stay tuned.